What if I told you that you should only be on hormone replacement therapy for 5 years? Well, I'm not telling you that, but a lot of women I talk to have been told exactly that by their doctor, by friends, or by something they read online. In fact, here's a comment I just got on one of my videos. I just want to get rid of hot flashes. I've already used up my 5 years on hormone replacement therapy. And that really lit a fire under me because this is still such a common belief. So in today's video, we're going to unpack where this 5-year rule came from, why it's outdated, and what the latest research actually says. I'll also share my personal hormone replacement therapy story, how I've helped other women through the same decision, and the one piece of advice I wish more providers gave their patients when it comes to hormone therapy. So let's dive in. Welcome back to my channel. I'm Dr. Renee, a double board certified doc in both OBGYN and functional medicine. And if you're ready to get clear on what's happening with your hormones, you'll find a link to download my free midlife hormone guide right below this video. It's a great place to start if you want to understand your symptoms better and take the next step with confidence. And if you're not quite sure what's going on with your hormones, but you're dealing with symptoms like hot flashes, poor sleep, mood swings, or just that blah feeling that no one seems to take seriously, I've also created a quick hormone imbalance quiz. It only takes a minute. It'll help you identify which hormone patterns might be behind your symptoms so you can take the right next step, not just throw spaghetti at the wall. That link is below too if you want to check it out after the video. Bioidentical hormones. We're going to start super basic here because most women have never even heard this word from their doctor. Bioidentical hormones are hormones that are chemically identical to the ones your body naturally produces. So when we say things like bioidentical estrogen or bioidentical progesterone, we're talking about hormones that match your body's own blueprint, not synthetic versions made in a lab that your body may not metabolize the same way. Now, here's where things get really interesting and a bit confusing. You can get FDA-approved bioidentical hormones, such as micronized progesterone, often known by the brand name Prometrium, or transdermal estradiol in a patch, gel, or spray form. These don't have to come from a compounding pharmacy, and your insurance may cover them, although that's unfortunately not always the case. It's still worth checking though, because that coverage can make a big difference when it comes to both access and affordability. That said, compounded bioidentical hormones are still an excellent option, especially for women who need a more individualized approach. For example, some women find the standard doses of FDA-approved estrogen or progesterone too strong. Compounding bioidentical hormones allows you to titrate the dose more gently, which can minimize side effects while still giving you symptom relief. You can also combine estradiol with estriol, something not available in mass-produced prescriptions. And then we have progesterone. It can be compounded into a topical cream, which some women prefer, but personally, I am a huge fan of oral progesterone, especially for perimenopausal women struggling with sleep. That's because when taken by mouth, progesterone is broken down into metabolites like allopregnanolone, which has a calming effect on the brain. They bind to GABA receptors and help promote deeper, more restful sleep, a huge win for women who are tossing and turning at 3 a.m. And if you can't tolerate the typical 100 to 200 milligram doses of oral progesterone, a compounding pharmacy can make a customized lower dose just for you. Bottom line, there's no one size fits all with hormone therapy. The best plan is the one tailored to your body, your symptoms, and your long-term health goals. Now let's talk delivery method, because how you take your hormones makes a difference. Take oral estrogen, for example. I'm not a fan, and here's why. Oral estrogen has to pass through your liver. That can negatively impact your cholesterol panel, raise your triglycerides, and potentially increase clotting risks. Let me tell you a little story. My own mom was put on oral estrogen after having a hysterectomy, and her triglycerides shot up to over 1,000. I had never seen a number that high. At this time, I think I was in medical school, but I already knew enough to advise her to ask her doctor to switch over to a patch. After she did, her levels came right back down. So the form of hormones that you take matters. Transdermal estrogen in the form of a patch, gel, spray, or even a cream bypasses the liver, reducing those risks and often being safer for women with metabolic concerns. So, what about progesterone after a hysterectomy? This is a huge point of confusion and frustration for me. Most doctors are trained to think that if a woman has had a hysterectomy, she doesn't need progesterone anymore. That used to be me, so I get it. That is how we are trained. Why? Because progesterone's conventional role is to protect the uterine lining from overgrowth when you're on estrogen. But here's what gets missed. Progesterone isn't just about your uterus. It supports sleep, mood, brain health, bone health, and it balances out the effects of estrogen. Without it, many women feel anxious, moody, bloated, or wired but tired, even if they don't have a uterus. And estrogen without progesterone, that's a recipe for hormone imbalance. In fact, I see a lot of estrogen dominance symptoms in women who are only on estrogen. So, yes, if you've had your uterus removed, I personally recommend both estrogen and progesterone because your body still needs balance. And let me share another little story. And this time, it's a real life example that illustrates why personalized hormone care is so important. A 60-year-old woman came to me recently wanting to get her hormones tested. Her main concern, hair loss, a symptom so many women in midlife struggle with, but rarely get real answers for. She still had her uterus and had been using transdermal estrogen, I think in a patch or maybe a spray, but had stopped taking progesterone because she wasn't sure it was making a difference. And this is why we have to educate women. If you're on estrogen and you still have a uterus, taking progesterone is non-negotiable. It's not optional. It's essential. Anyway, when we ran a comprehensive hormone panel, what we found was no surprise to me, but it was eye-opening for her. Her estrogen levels were super high and her progesterone was basically non-existent. She was dealing with estrogen dominance, which can absolutely contribute to symptoms like hair thinning, anxiety, bloating, and so much more. So I thought it would be wise for her to restart her bioidentical progesterone, not only because she has a uterus, but because of her symptoms. And within weeks, her symptoms began to improve. But here's the part that really got me. She later tried to switch to a new provider through an online hormone service, and they refused to treat her simply because she was over the age of 60. That's so frustrating to me, and it was devastating to her. This idea that there's a cutoff age for hormone therapy, a cutoff age where women are no longer considered for treatment, that once you hit a certain birthday, your symptoms no longer matter. So my take on this is that every woman deserves the right to feel good in her body at any and every age. And we have the tools to help you do that if we're willing to look beyond outdated rules and the one-size-fits-all protocols. So if her story resonated with you and you've been wondering whether your own symptoms are tied to a hormone imbalance, I offer hormone testing consults. We look at what your body's really trying to tell you and come up with a clear plan based on your symptoms and your labs. That link is below too if you're ready to take that next step. So let's talk about where this fear of hormones came from. The Women's Health Initiative, the WHI Study, was published in 2002. It was one of the largest studies ever done on hormone therapy, and it sent shockwaves through the medical world. In short, the Women's Health Initiative was a landmark study that significantly influenced perceptions of hormone replacement therapy. It involved over 16,000 postmenopausal women between the ages of 50 and 79, and they examined the effects of combined estrogen and progesterone therapy. The study was halted prematurely due to findings that indicated increased risks of breast cancer, heart disease, stroke, and blood clots among participants receiving hormone replacement therapy. These results led to a substantial decline in HRT prescriptions and a reevaluation of its use in managing menopausal symptoms. The headline screamed,
"Hormones cause cancer, increased risk of stroke, stop your estrogen."
and I remember this day so clearly because I was working in my clinical practice at the time. And let me tell you, the phones in our office were ringing off the hook with terrified women who had been on hormone therapy and didn't know what to do. Many of them stopped their HRT cold turkey overnight because they were so scared, and their doctors didn't have clear answers either. I was one of those doctors. I didn't really know what to do. That's how much panic this study caused. What they didn't say loudly enough was that the average participant was 63 years old. Most were more than 10 years past menopause. The estrogen used was conjugated equine estrogen, also known as estrogen from pregnant horse urine. Yes, you heard that right. And we're not even going to get into how those horses are treated. And the progesterone used wasn't even real progesterone. It was a synthetic version called medroxyprogesterone acetate. So when we say the Women's Health Initiative results don't apply to today's woman using bioidentical hormones in the right dose at the right time through the safest route, we mean it. But here's the thing. The Women's Health Initiative study, while groundbreaking at the time, doesn't tell the whole story, especially for women in their 40s and 50s or those who are recently menopausal. In fact, a 2023 review published in a European journal, and I'm probably not going to say this correctly, but it's Mataritas. It took a fresh look at the Women's Health Initiative findings, and what it found was really validating. The researchers emphasized that the risks highlighted in the original Women's Health Initiative study don't necessarily apply to younger women or those who start hormone replacement therapy closer to the onset of menopause. In other words, timing does matter. They also pointed out that the type of hormone, how it's delivered, and your personal health status all play a big role in how safe and effective hormone replacement therapy is. So instead of this outdated one size fits all fear-based approach, they're pushing for what I've always believed in, a personalized, nuanced approach to hormone replacement therapy based on your age, your symptoms, and your goals. And that's exactly what I help women do every day. So what are the key takeaways? The Women's Health Initiative findings should not be generalized to all women. Risks are lower when hormone replacement therapy is started within 10 years of menopause. Transdermal estrogen and bioidentical progesterone likely have a better safety profile than oral synthetic combinations. And of course, it emphasized individualized care over blanket guidelines. Now, before we go any further, I just want to say something important. I'm not your personal doctor, and nothing in this video is medical advice. But I am a double board certified OBGYN and functional medicine doc who spent over 20 years helping women just like you. And part of my mission in this online space is to make this confusing hormone world feel a little less overwhelming and a lot more empowering. So if you're feeling stuck, unsure where to start, or just want to support your hormones naturally, whether or not you decide to go on hormone replacement therapy, I created a super simple, affordable first step for women over 40. It's called the Hormone Balancing Starter Kit, and it's designed to help you feel better from the inside out with easy lifestyle, supplement, and nutrition strategies that actually work. Even if you don't go on hormone replacement therapy, these foundational tools can make your hormones work more efficiently and keep your body more balanced overall. You can find the link down below, and trust me, it's a total no-brainer if you're ready to take action, but want it to feel doable. All right, now let's keep going. So there's something called the timing hypothesis, and we touched on this a little bit, and it's a game changer. When women start hormone therapy within 10 years of menopause or before the age of 60, the benefits far outweigh the risks. We see improved cardiovascular markers or markers of heart health, better cognitive health or brain health, stronger bones, and fewer vasomotor symptoms like hot flashes and night sweats. But here's the tragedy. Because women are told they can only be on hormone replacement therapy for 5 years, they wait. They delay starting even when their symptoms are debilitating because they're afraid of running out of time. That's not how this should work. You deserve to start when you need it and stay on it as long as it's helping you and safe to do so. So, another little story. Let's talk about my personal hormone replacement therapy journey. I started Bioidentical progesterone at 41 when my symptoms began. I stayed on it for a few years, then I paused. At 50, when hot flashes, night sweats, and sleep struggles returned, I started transdermal estrogen and restarted progesterone at the same time because I have a uterus and I believe in balance. I believe in staying on hormone therapy for as long as it supports my health, my function, and my joy. So this is a deeply personal decision, and I think it should be yours to make. So you might be asking, like, why do doctors even do this? Why are they playing it safe? Here's something I want you to know as a doctor myself. Most OBGYNs are trained in what I call defensive medicine. That means we're making decisions that are legally safe, not necessarily what's most current or personalized for the patient. And just to be clear, this isn't about intentionally withholding care. It's about fear. Fear of doing something that could be questioned, fear of liability, fear of stepping outside the conventional guidelines. The Women's Health Initiative study was so widely publicized that many providers are still scared to prescribe hormone therapy, even though the science has changed and we have safer, more personalized options today. But here's the truth. That fear, it doesn't help you. Women deserve informed options, not outdated restrictions. You deserve a provider who is willing to sit down, look at your symptoms, your labs, your goals, and make a plan with you, not for you. So if this video struck a chord and you're ready to feel like yourself again, here's what I would recommend that I can do for you. You can download my free midlife hormone guide below. Book a hormone testing consult if you want to get real answers about your own personal hormones. And check out the Hormone Balancing Starter Kit. Honestly, it is an easy, affordable way to support your hormones naturally, whether or not you're considering hormone replacement therapy. Everything is linked below in the description. And the last little thing I want to say is that I don't think every woman should be on hormone replacement therapy, but I do think it should be a conversation that a woman has with her provider and not just be told that she can't have them. And remember, you're not too old, you're not out of time, and you're absolutely not crazy for wanting to feel like yourself again. And with that, we'll see you right back here next week. Ciao.